Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, folks. I got my man Devin Johnson in the house, and we're about to let it rip. All right, this is going to be a very, very big time inspirational mix with the tactical stuff in this interview. And so I'm just going to kick it started by introducing you to Devin Johnson. Now, Devin is the current Chief Executive Officer of Kennected, an indie-based SaaS company with over 20,000 users. He is a serial entrepreneur, an inspiring leader, and an adept marketer. As the CEO of Kennected, Devin directs the daily workflow and is responsible for the overall success of over 100 employees and reaching over 25 million in sales and gross total. His leadership led to Kennected being a recipient of the coveted Inc. 5000 ranking at number 438 for a 1,102% growth in 2022. Let's go, brother. His vision is to build a world where people value relationships even more than money, where people feel inspired to help their fellow business professionals each and every day. The vision has directly led to Kennected being voted a top place to work in Indianapolis. Devin's employees see him as an inspirational and empathetic thought leader who maintains both a positive work environment and a culture of hard work, thoughtfulness, and understanding. He always leads by example, bringing out the absolute best in others. Well, I'm excited for you to bring out the best in me and all of our listeners. Welcome to the stage, Devin Johnson in the house. What's up?
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I'm ready to drop some knowledge, some bombs, some wisdom, whatever you want to call it. I'm ready to have some fun today.
All right, dude. Well, let's go straight into this, okay? Kennected. What exactly is it and who's it designed to help?
It is designed to help anybody that needs to meet more people or to shake more hands to make more money, right? What it does is we automate lead generation via LinkedIn and first-party data. So we automate the outreach process, so meeting new individuals at scale. It's simply put, we save time and we simplify opportunity. Our system focuses on the execution of delivering the conversation you need with the person you need to be talking to.
Okay, so talk to me about this, right? We live in a world where online business is growing, digital education rapidly growing. People are needing more connection than ever before coming out of the pandemic. So how do we set these things up to be automated, but also still be able to be intimate with the people that we're trying to build relationships with?
Yeah, I say it all the time, like the old days of like, hey, let's connect. And I think we have, common interests. Like, dude, that messaging does not work. Okay. You really need to know some ninja type tricks on LinkedIn or even your own data sets to be able to get the interest of people. But I simply break it down into a handful of pieces that will break through the noise, right? Have something and be intentional about why you're communicating to the prospect or the end desired conversation, or have something in common that you can mention. Hey, we both live in Indianapolis, we're both car guys, would love to chat. You have to either be intentional or have common ground and get right to the point. The fluffy messaging, the surface level type messaging is not working. If you cannot relate instantly or catch the attention instantly, it's not going to do well. So any automation, Kennected, or any program you're thinking about using, you need to be taking that into consideration. Am I getting to my point to where I can add value, or am I at least reaching out with something in common where people can feel like they're relatable and would want to respond?
Yeah, dude. And that's such a great point because look, we all get hit up in our messages, right? And it's buy this, it's get featured on this, it's do this, it's, hey, I saw your profile, let's connect, right? And you're just like, okay, the pitch is coming in a message or two, right?
Yeah.
So with Kennected, do you recommend, and for those that have never used it or haven't heard of it just yet, do you recommend like creating campaigns based on those interests or those commonalities that you share? And if so, can you kind of elaborate how you could potentially set that up so that people feel it's intimate while also still saving you time in the process?
Yeah, so our self-starter plan unfortunately doesn't get into these types of tricks, but we have something called our fast track consulting. It is our upsell, it is our service revenue within our business, where we teach you how to start campaigns based on second degree, based on location, based on interest, based on what you're needing the most within your business. Whatever the end goal may be, like everyone listening has a different use case of generating leads, for the most part. And so there is a unique way to be relatable and have something in common in every single connected message. It just ultimately depends on the end user and them willing to actually spend the money on the fast track consulting to be able to learn these tips and tricks. Again, self-starter plan, you're not going to get that stuff. That's why we have the upsell and the premium pricing around it, as we do teach you every message to be intentional and have common ground.
Okay, so I love LinkedIn. All right, so this gets me really excited here because I mentioned in my second book in 2018 that LinkedIn was the GOAT of networking, right? I've always believed it's great, especially for business growth. So why is LinkedIn the platform that you chose to build this software on? Why is LinkedIn the go-to place that people should be considering doing lead generation and outbound automation?
It's very simple, right? LinkedIn is for business professionals to talk business, to handle business, and they're in there making business decisions, right? You don't see Susan's fourth birthday party, or, so you don't see a lot of this fluffy BS that you see on Facebook. It's talking about, everyone's post is how much they're growing or they're recruiting or they failed and need help. Like, it is business people making business decisions in a business environment. If you are a entrepreneur or you're trying to figure out who to meet, what hand you need to shake in order to grow your business, and you have zero presence on LinkedIn, you need to wake up. You are asleep at the wheel, my friend. Anybody and everybody who's anybody, I know it's a mouthful, is on LinkedIn. You can message me on Instagram. You'll probably never hear back from me. You can message me on LinkedIn and it's the least in consideration, like bare minimum.
Yeah.
Right? Because I take that network
For
way
sure.
more serious.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, the way we connected was I think I tried Instagram first and it was like nothing. And then I hit you up on LinkedIn. I was like, this dude's a LinkedIn guy. He's probably putting his attention towards LinkedIn. Let's get in there. And then, we kind of started chatting and now we're doing this interview, right? So I think that it is a great point on LinkedIn. And I think you get a different type of person on LinkedIn, right? And I think part of it is, what type of business are you doing? Who's your ideal client? What is your niche? And how can you leverage the attention span of where someone else already is, right? Because if you go to where people already spend time, you increase your chances of being seen when you send their outreach. So for you, are there any tips when it comes to, I know you mentioned commonalities and interests, but are there any tips when it comes to creating like a automation sequence that can help people, get in the flow and follow up without being an annoying prick, but rather, like be seen as somebody who's a persistent hustler or persistent like connector?
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many different ways I can give advice on sequencing, but just a standard format that you can follow is you send a one-liner connection message. So the one-liner, I love to use second degree targeting. So that means you have common connections. I like to say, hey, do you know the common connection that you're referencing to? Right. So connections of, or second degree connections. Hey, do you know Devin Johnson? And instantly they'll connect and be like, no. So boom, you already got them engaged, right? Ask a question, a one-liner question in your connection message. Again, try to be relatable or common ground in that question. Don't be a sales pitch. All right. So simple question to connect. Then if they don't respond, but they accept, send a follow-up, again, getting more towards your point. Do you know this person? Are you doing well in this industry, or whatever the root of why you're reaching out? 1 to 2 sentences. The length actually matters. And if they don't answer, I recommend sending a video, third follow-up, just quick 10, 15 seconds. Hey, Jake, this is why I reached out. Listen, we're both in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're both in technology. Let me, grab you a coffee, grab you a beer. I'd love to just see how we can, make one another stronger. It's a no-brainer. We're both in one another's backyard. Send the video. So try to send a video on your third follow-up. I don't actually go past any more than just a handful of follow-ups. I'm working off of the data and whatnot from there. So, typically you'll see a 40 to 50% response rate once that video goes out, though.
Okay, so let's recap just the three messages. Your initial connection request message is a single one-liner, quick question that is around the commonality, right?
Yes. Yep.
So if this is, let me ask you this, right? Because you obviously want to do this at scale, right? So are you saying like maybe we'd set up a campaign to do anybody who is a connection with Devin Johnson, they're going to get this message. And let's say you have, and I'm just using an example, 5,000 connections.
Yep.
It would do a sequence to all 5,000 of those people over a duration of a period of time.
Yep. You got it.
And then once they accept it, right? Ideally, they respond yes or no, because that's going to get the engagement. Like, no, what are you doing? Which a no can also be more powerful than just the yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you kind of start bridging the gap of, okay, cool. And now then the second message is bridging the gap from, okay, now we're connected. So here's kind of what I do and how it can kind of help, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. And then in a video to
Video
bring
third.
it all together. Yeah.
Okay, dude, this is awesome. I want to dig into one more specific kind of here on like the tactical side, and then I want to kind of get into some really cool stuff that I know you're working on. I mean, the company's growing rapidly, and we're going to get into that. So, when you are using a platform like Kennected, right? What is the data, right? What you guys have 20,000 plus users. Your people are sending messages every day, all day long. I mean, you must have some incredible data around what works and what doesn't, right? Because people, I'm sure, have tried every little thing in the world. What are some of the key data points that if someone's like, okay, I'm ready to do this, but I just need the data. Tell me what the data says and I'll do it rather than trying to recreate the wheel. What are some of those key data points on outreach? What are some of those percentages that we can expect so that we can have an expectation of how to actually get results?
Yeah. So on average, connected users can experience an 18 to 23% acceptance rate. That's a broad band of industries. That's all inclusive. So right away, you're ahead of anything that you could ever attempt as far as getting the initial interest, right? And then from a response rate, so acceptance is one bucket, response rate, the average response rate is around 10 to 12%. So again, immediately you're much higher than any email efforts you could ever dream of or any other platform. The LinkedIn inbox is going to spit out a 10 to 12% based on the acceptance. So let's use basic math. 100 people, let's say 20 accept, 10% of that will respond. You'll have two good opportunities come from those 100 connections.
Okay, and this is great. I mean, I love the numbers, and from a cold outreach, these numbers are legit, right?
Yeah.
When you get this though, what should we be thinking about in terms of how many messages can you send? Look, I know the answer. I'm a user, so I know exactly how many messages and how it kind of works. But for someone that doesn't know, how many outreach requests can you send per day? Because obviously we're going to play the numbers game here. So how many messages can we send per day in a way, again, that's still automated, but intimate, right? That's the key here for everyone listening. How many can we send a day?
It's a year ago, this was a one answer, 100 a day, right? It's 100 per day. Now it's dependent on your social selling index score, which people are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Okay, it's a report card of how well you are doing on LinkedIn's database. So mine's like 68, right? The average in the of my friends list was like 38, right? So I'm a little bit better than the average here. But the higher you go, the more you can send. On average, a connected user saying about 60 new invites and messages out per day.
Okay, so now I want to factor that in because I love the numbers. We're saying let's say 60. All right, there's 30 days in a month. Okay, and you could run this all day long every day. There's no I need to take the weekends off, right? People are checking social all day long. So if you do it 30 days a month, you're sending out 1,800 messages, right? At 20% acceptance rate, we're getting 360 people to accept a week. All right, listen to this, guys. 360 new connections of people that are interested in what you have to do, what you have to offer. Of that, we're getting 10% to respond. So that's 36 high quality people that you know are in your target market that you want to connect with for whatever your reason of connecting is, whether it's
Yeah.
to get clients, to just connect with people, to meet people in a new area that you just moved to. This works for every aspect, not just to just pitch people your services. And that's something that's really important too. So that's 36 people a month. What would you do with 36 brand new people in your ideal space in your business? That's
Yeah.
a great opportunity, right?
I ask people that from stage a lot. I do a lot of public speaking. That's one of the questions that I do. It's one of my anchors in my talk. And a lot of people can't actually answer what that does for them. I'm like, you got a bigger problem.
Yeah,
You don't know the
right.
value of a client, like your close rate. You don't know your close rate, and you don't know the value of an individual client, right? It leads to some deeper problems, but for most businesses that actually know their metrics, 30 to 40 people a month is a life-changing opportunity.
Yeah, life-changing opportunity. I mean, let's just say one of those people became a client at, let's say you're doing a 5K offer. That's 5K a month right off the bat. And people might be wondering, well, okay, how much does this cost? Because these
Yeah.
numbers are pretty legit. Like what does it cost per month to be a part of this? Or how do you guys structure your payment?
Yeah, so I give the cream of the crop, fast track and monthly. You're going to be about 2,500 for the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the year. The year. Let me put emphasis on that again. 2,500 for the year. Okay.
Right? Like this is what's really cool about this is you can send out, okay, with it, okay, let me just give one more math example here. All right. If we do 60 messages a day for 30 days, that's 1,800 messages that or requests that we're sending a month. All right. Let me rephrase that. Let's do this again. 60 messages for 30 days, that's 1,800. All right. Now, you do that for another half a month, that's 2,700 connection requests that you have sent. Okay. You have paid $1 per connection request in a month and a half, and you've paid for the entire year already. Right. So,
Yeah.
like, this is where, as a user of Kennected, you can start to understand how this becomes super, super valuable for you as a business owner, while also still not feeling salesy or slimy because you're actually connecting with these people. You're messaging people that have something in common with you, and you can segment that as many times as you want. So, I love that. So, Devin, let's get into this, dude. Like, you are literally creating a new category. All right.
Yes.
Word on the street is you are producing something that people have only dreamt of. It has not existed up to this point. So talk to me about what it is. Talk to me about what is EAAS, what is ease. What are you doing over here, man? Because you're growing rapidly, you're changing the game. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I got fed up as an entrepreneur. I was in digital marketing before this. I got fed up with the how hard it was to get leads and just get a product to execute what I thought it was going to do. Right? I know everybody listening to this is like, "Hey, I feel you. I've bought ClickFunnels and can't figure that out," or whatever it may be. It's just another system. So creating a category called ease, execution as a service. For instance,
Mm.
Kennected will execute your database or your LinkedIn connections and give you the leads, the recruit, the opportunity, the podcast bookings, whatever it may be. We are building products, and the roadmap supports this as well, to execute what you think you're signing up for and buying. It's not a fancy dashboard. It's not a fancy reminder. This is products that are going to continue to deliver the end outcome that we state it will provide you. And so execution as a service, you may think a platform of it as a service, software as a service. Guys, these categories 10, 15 years ago never existed. It was entrepreneurs like myself that seen a hole in the marketplace and went out and wanted to go create their own category. I see execution as a service as that next lane, and I'm trailblazing it.
Do you find this? I mean, this is fascinating. Do you find that execution as a service will be more for tech companies or service-based companies, or what type of companies would fall into this category?
I favor tech. I'm a tech guy, right? I favor the softwares, falling into focusing on execution as a service. But this can, encompass sales processes and more service oriented businesses, right? As we think about this, and you think about legacy, right? Every entrepreneur wants their legacy or what they want to be known for. I just want to be known for the guy that helped, make the business world easy as far as the right connection at the right time at the right place. And so execution as a service, if if it's tech and processes and all these service companies that kind of take the lane, I'm cool with it, right? Just stick to what execution actually means. What's you're delivering the end desire of whatever your product or service is stating it can do.
Do you think that as we head into the new year, as you build up this, as you build more awareness around this category, what do you think are some of the trends that you'll see entrepreneurs kind of taking advantage of when they become part of this category? Is there anything in specific that you're hoping they'll take advantage of, or hoping that you'll be able to even teach them or inspire them to do because of the category that you're creating?
I'm big on a core value of leading from the front, right? And tying it back to ease of, execution as a service. I really hope that it starts to trend between entrepreneurs, business owners, founders. I don't care what size business you're running. I just hope it starts a trend where you lead from the front and you actually execute what you say you're going to do for the client and or in service base that you're delivering, right? And be proud that you have been able to achieve the end goal for your client. I think we're on the tail end of it. We had a huge spike in what I like to say wannabe-newers, right? Saying they can get you these results, saying and standing in front of the Lambo or jet and trying to just lure you in on materialistic items, right? I call it the wannabe-newer season. I think we're at the tail end of it with the markets and everything has been able to, luckily wash that noise out. But it'll happen again and just run with execution as a service. I hope people that they take it with pride, they lead from the front, they build real companies that create real value.
So, I mean, it sounds like, what you're trying to do here is just change it from like, hey, this is what we do to this is what result you're getting, right? Mm-hmm. Which is one of the biggest things that as a company, why consumers have skepticism, right? Is because, hey, you promised me this, but this isn't what happened. Hey, this is what you said your product does or your company does, but it hasn't done that for me. And so is that really what you're trying to change? Is that belief as the entrepreneur to say, look, we're going to actually deliver what we say, but then as a consumer, hey, you're actually going to get the shit you paid money for.
Yes. Yeah. I want it to be like a trust system. If companies labeled as ease, that they're trustworthy.
Are you going to have a way to right, like SaaS is just a general category, right? Anybody can fall into that. Are you going to have as you create this, it's kind of going to be your own thing, or is it kind of going to be a broader scope? What do you kind of envision for it?
I do envision just broader, to be honest. I want to run it hard for a few years, and it's my category. Hopefully I can run and stay in front of my own category. But eventually, I could see this developing into some sort of verification process of this guy's actually legit, so
yeah, like the Better Business Bureau and yeah, like things like that. Like, hey, look, you're part of the ease community. We know that you're legit. You have a certain amount of customers. You have a certain amount of results. This is the satisfaction rate. Like, it's basically just further qualifying what makes a great company, right? That's kind of like the vision of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just go down as the guy that really simplified business, and because, I was 19, really when Kennected started to get its legs, and it was just so complicated, and trying to get it off the ground and meet the right people. And it was just super confusing. So, it's a breath of fresh air to be able to have a product that delivers what we say it's going to do. And I mean, we'll put you on the spot on your own podcast. You're a connected user. What I'm saying legit, or do we deliver the save time, simplify, opportunity mission that we preach?
Yeah, dude, I'm glad you flipped it over here, because we're gonna take it here for the final couple minutes here. I completely agree with what you're saying. It's been pretty easy for me to learn how to use what you guys do. I mean, I check it in, I set up my campaigns. I adjust those campaigns based on the audiences I want. It gets messages out to a larger amount than I could do independently, and for a much better rate than having a virtual assistant do it for me as well, no matter where they're located in the country. I'm able to get people based on common interests and commonalities, which allows me to spark better conversations. And it's much different than other platforms because I know exactly who I'm going after. So, my ROI on the platform is great. Simply put, we won't go too much into numbers here, but there's a major positive ROI that I've been using the platform for a couple months. But even beyond the actual revenue that I've gained from clients that have been on the platform, there have been some really great conversations that I've had that never would have happened had I not, segmented by the right types of people to connect with. And so, you throw me on the spot, I'm happy to answer the question. I think that it's a great platform. And for me, I'm constantly looking for ways to scale with intimacy, right? And Kennected was the first platform that I felt really gave me this opportunity. And sure, don't get me wrong, sometimes people know what you're doing. That's fine. But also, there's a lot of people that I get to have really, really great conversations with. And to me, that's the whole point of this, is how can I, as an entrepreneur, share my message to impact people to change their lives, right? And Kennected gives me an opportunity to be able to do that. So I hope that kind of gives everybody a little insight into how someone actually uses Kennected at a high level, but also, to back up why ease is going to be such a big category, right? Because you execute on what you say you're going to do. And I think that that's something important. Customer support's actually pretty good too, as well, which is sometimes a struggle with, growing tech companies. So kudos to you on that, man. But let me put you back on the spot. For me, being on the spot is this. I help people write and launch nonfiction books so that they can grow their business and make an impact. Simply put, we work with coaches, we work with entrepreneurs, we work with executives. I would love to know, if you were in my shoes, what would you maybe segment or create a sequence around that could help with my targeting and audience? And for everyone that's listening, watch how he's about to break this down, because I imagine you're going to have kind of a few interesting test points to suggest and recommend. So I'll let you kind of take that.
So what's you're gonna be like, what? This is weird. All right, what's your biggest hobby, Jake? Don't tell me writing. Give me a real hobby.
My real hobby is watching sports, specifically watching the Lakers.
Okay, love basketball. All right, and do you collect anything? Watches, cars, anything?
No, not a huge collector.
Okay, all right. Let's just stick with sports fan, right? And let's go in the coaching vertical. I think coaches all need a book, and it's just that level of credibility. I would go, are you a father as well?
No. Boyfriend at this point, 29, turning 30. Boyfriend
there we go.
At this point.
Yeah, we're working on it. So I would go coach and sports lover and NBA, right? That they're a business coach. That they love sports. That they're into the NBA. Because that inside the search bar on LinkedIn, if you go quote coach, end quote, basketball, end quote, NBA, and it will only find people that have basketball and that they're a business coach inside the profile. Therefore, the message is much more personalized. You can even take it further. Lakers fan inside the search bar. Say, hey, fellow Lakers fan, by the way, I see you're a business coach. Would love to chat. Right? And,
all right, so let me ask you this real quick, because I know you're on a roll here, but I know the questions are coming.
Yeah.
You can segment by an interest, like Lakers fan on LinkedIn. How do you do that? Does it need to be mentioned at some point in their profile, or is it based on what they're clicking, based on their IP address? Like how does LinkedIn know who a Laker fan is? Because a business coach is easy.
Yeah. So it needs to be in their profile somewhere, someplace, right? And yes, the audience will be a lot smaller, right? I don't know. I've never searched for Lakers fans, but I've done Colts fans just to show local, Indianapolis users how to do it. And it's 1,100 people, right? That are a executive and Colts fan mentioned in their profile, right? Again, it's going to be a very small audience that mention Lakers or that are a business coach and love the Lakers, right? But yes, in the search bar, very, very few people know this, but you can search anything but put quotes around it. So for instance, with this Lakers example, you would put your business coach and then quote Lakers, end quote. So business coaches in quotes, and then quote Lakers, and we'll find only business coach and Lakers in the profile. And so again, the results may only be 200 people, but you're an LA Lakers fan and you write books for business coaches. Like, if you can't make a connection off of that, that's just tough, right? That, like, you have the most experience and relatable messaging that you could ever think of by, having success with business coaches and being a Lakers fan.
Do you recommend much smaller sample sizes, like within that 100 to 1500 range? Or do you recommend kind of hitting audiences at a little bit bigger of a spectrum?
We generally recommend 1500 and below. You've probably heard my team say that working with them. Now, it's not a must. You ask me, I'll give you a different answer, right? I'll tell you, they say 1500 and below because that's what we want to standardize. However, every industry and business is different. Like, for instance, if you're targeting in the healthcare, like, it takes a lot of reps. Like, honestly, healthcare industry brings our averages down substantially because people are targeting doctors and these dentists and like people that are just really hard to get a hold of in any way, shape, or form. You have to hit a more broad spectrum.
I like that, man. Okay, dude, this has been so good. You've given a lot of tactical stuff. You've kind of shared what the vision is for you as you bring ease to the forefront in the new year. Is there anything else, man, that you want to share with the listeners? Is there anything else that you want to leave people with related to Kennected, related to LinkedIn, related to automation, related to relationships, related to execution as a service? Is there anything that you want to leave our people with after crushing it today?
Yeah, so I want to go on the personal side. Like, forget Kennected, forget ease, forget all of that. I don't know the average age or who's listening to this. Doesn't really matter, but I'll tell you the biggest thing that changed everything for me was I released my ego and I went into every conversation as a student. I meet so many people that are successful, they're egotistical shitheads, and they're 1/10 or 1/100th of what they could actually be if they were just a student of the game and they didn't look at every single person as a transaction. Right? So many, and guys, I was at fault too. I used to do this. I used to sit down with a guy like Jake, like, all right, how can I get his credit card in 30 minutes for whatever amount I can squeeze out of it? Every person I met was a transaction. The moment I released my ego and I released, every person's a transaction, and I just kept, good Rolodex of people, everything has changed. Everything. Mm-hmm. This is, I'd say 2018, 2019 is when I really made this change. And I really want you guys to take that serious. Like, check yourselves, right? Just like, Ice Cube, says it the best, check yourself, right? Leave the ego behind, guys. And not every conversation is a transaction.
Dude, I love that. I love that. So how do we follow you? How do we connect with you? How do we learn more about you? Where do we go? Give us the goods.
Yeah, start on LinkedIn, right? Just search my name, Devin Allen Johnson, Devin, not Owen. Allen, Allen Johnson. I should pop right up as you just start to type my name in. But if not, there's the full spelling. Same thing with Instagram, it's just Devin Allen Johnson, right? Lots of fake profiles. I don't know. I've hit that status where I get 5 or 6 fake profiles, but guys, it's just my name, Devin Allen Johnson, 2 L's and Allen. Shoot me a follow, and I drop content on both platforms. 2 or 3 times a day. So, very consistent on both. Shout out to my video guy, Cooper. He's absolutely crushing it. And far as Kennected, you can check us out on the link below. I gave Jake a special link to take care of you guys.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll link it all up. We'll link the socials up. We'll link up Kennected and everything there. But thank you, man, for coming on the show. I appreciate it. This was a blast. And if you guys enjoyed this, you already know what to do. Go check out Devin. Go check him out on social. Check out Kennected. I mean, if you want to increase your reach, this is a great opportunity to do so. So, Devin, thank you for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, you guys, make sure to go check out Devin. If you enjoyed this episode, let him know. He gave us his time today. And if you enjoyed this and you spent time listening to this, Just go ahead. Let them know, hey, I love the show. I love what you got to say. I love this piece of advice. Start building that relationship, start connecting, start making magic happen. And that's what it's all about. So with that said, everybody, I will see you on the next time. Peace.